What's going on, guys? So on this SHOKY review, we're going to take a look at another third-party Transformer from the War in Pocket line from DX9. Legendary Heroes in Your Pocket. And this is, of course, their version of Swoop. It's the X-Tile 20 Bombardier SKYER. Right. Got a really nice artist rendering there, flying next to some actual pteranodons, which coolness. You got a nice blue sky look there. Got the eye glowing. Very nice. And one thing you guys will notice, this is a very, very small box in comparison. And so being the smallest of the Dinobots makes sense. Until you see the size of the actual figure, then you're like, why did they bother going with a smaller box? But then you have, of course, robot mode right there. Come to the bottom, you got warning. All the warnings. Don't stick a Swoop in a 3-year-old's mouth. It'll choke on it. And then, of course, this is from 2017. Ages 15 plus, made in China. Yay! Standard grade. Come to this side. You get the cool box art again. Nice slim line there. Come to the top. You get nice G1 kind of aesthetic going on there. You got robot mode and Dino mode there. And come over here, and it's the exact same box art. Gotta love that. Come to the back, and you have a very, chopped up version and zoomed in, so just the part that Swoop is in gets put on this box. And then you've got Dino mode and robot mode and all of the tech specs that you can't really read. Alright guys, if you open the box, you do get this, and strangely enough, and I don't know if this is just mine, there was no lid to this. It just had a plastic baggie kind of holding Swoop, and he's the only one who comes in robot mode. Everybody else is in their Dino mode. So maybe that's the difference, I don't know. But you have the cutouts for his weapons, his sword there, and his 2 rocket launchers. And of course, you do get the instructions. He's by far the simplest of the Dinobots to transform. So very short and sweet instructions. And you got Wheeljack there, as always. And there's a couple issues I have with it, but once I figured it out, it's actually not that bad. Just a few of the instructions are like, okay, what now? It took a tiny bit of learning. Not anywhere near as bad as, say, Planet X's instructions, which are god-awful. But, you figure it out. It's a lot more intuitive, even though there's some things in there that, at least with this whole line, there's a few things that you just kind of have to figure out yourself. Now let's go ahead and get him out here and see how cool his swoopness is. And here we have Swoop in his Dino mode. I wasn't going to go with the robot mode first. Are you kidding me? If you're watching the SHOKY vlogs, you know why he's in Dino mode. But this is really, really cool and probably one of my favorite ones of this entire line. And that's saying something because I've loved the whole DX9 line of these guys ever since I started with Grimlock. But he looks really, really cool. You got the G1 colors, even down to the blue. And they're going for G1 cartoon, not G1 toy, obviously, because he's blue. Because the toy had him in red, cartoon had him in blue. Don't know why. Just what they did. Got the wings that I believe are die-cast. If they're not die-cast, that's just the effect of the chrome. It could just be thin plastic, but either way. Because if it was die-cast, that'd be pretty heavy. I don't know. Probably very good chrome plastic. It just feels cold because of the coating. Either way, looks really, really good. You got a lot of paint on him. You got silver and black going on back here for the backpack slash legs. You got a nice red painted stripe through there. Bare black plastic there. Blue plastic for the body. Red plastic on the head. And white plastic on the... Or white. What am I looking at? Yellow plastic for the head. And then the missiles are painted with probably, looks like all of it might be painted. The black, the silver, and the yellow might all be painted there. This guy is fantastic. So you can have him in a sitting mode with the wing just kind of folded up. Tuck his head down very pensively. Just a good word, pensive. And you got the feet right here. Looks pretty cool. So you can use that as, he can sort of blop. He can peck the floor. Must peck for food. Something. I don't know. Or you just do what you should do and just leave them straight back as you can. There's a little bit of yellow paint there on the toesies. Gotta love that. And some silver paint on what is clearly the hands. Now, when I said Snarl had the worst hideaway hands, I was wrong. Because these don't even hide. They literally just are the backside of the feet. Personally think that they could have taken that to another level. Even if, because you can see back here, there's a big gap right there. If you cut that part out, you could actually get the feet flat all the way back for flight mode. And maybe in the future I might make that mod. I mean, it might need to be there structurally, realistically, for the, you know, all of this part here needs to be together. And I wonder if they thought about it. Like, that gap looks like it's perfect to fit the hand, if I'm guessing right. So, I mean, maybe trimming it back just a little bit. Yeah, I guarantee you that would entirely fit the hand back there. But, you know, it is what it is, guys. So, you know, it's a fairly cheap toy. You know, for a third-party figure, only $35-ish. The head does not have any rotation ability, but he does just have the up and down neck movement. The mouth does open, though not always the easiest thing to do. Got to get that really pointy beak up under your thumbnail. Just be careful. The teeth are not very pointy, but they're there. You even get a molded-in fake tongue. That's cool, because it is, you know, just because. I think this thing is actually fantastic. Now, as for part of the transformation, when we get there, there's some issues I have, and you can see what's going on right in here. The fitment is so tight when it comes to these wings. It's literally wearing out the plastic. You can see it turning to dust right in front of you. And it's mostly this side. This side barely gets it, but that side for sure. But before we get to transformations, let's do some comparisons, shall we? So the last one we looked at was our good buddy Snarl, or Thorner. And of course, these two were created together in the series to follow up and finish out the Dinobot line. And of course, Swoop was needed to up their aerial bots, more or less. Not the actual aerial bots, but the ones that could fight in the air. You know what I mean? And we have Mr. Sludge back here. We bring in Slag somewhere. Problem with the wingspan, it kind of takes up a lot of space. Let's just keep reorganizing until we can get all the Dinobots in there. And of course we have the King, Grimlock himself. And guys, this is literally the first time in my life I have owned all 5 Dinobots. And I can't be happier. Like, realistically, this set is fantastic. They all go together. The paint is so good on it. Transformations can be iffy on a couple of them, but, you know, for the most part, they are a fantastic set, and I definitely would recommend them, but we'll talk about that later, because we need one more comparison at least. Throw in the Wally Meister. Scooch back, Grimlock. Wally's got to meet Swoop. Wally, this is Swoop. He's kind of like a bird, but not. I guess realistically, he's more like a bird than a dinosaur, but we're going to talk robots, not science. So there's your Wally and all that. Hold on, I might need to get a picture of that. There we go. Did y'all see that? No? Okay. Get Wally out of there. And actually, let's get everybody else out of frame for a second, because we need some space. Oh, and hold on, just real quick while I'm talking about space. When I was saying, realistically, size-wise, bulky and wide, he's at least on par with the rest of the Dinobots, so giving him a smaller box was really odd. But, as I was saying, space. Because we need to bring in a bigger Swoop. I'm trying to do this carefully. And there we have the Planet X version. Planet X, was it Kalis, I believe? I can't remember everybody's name anymore. There's too many of them. So that's their Swoop. And you guys can see, let me take it off my custom stand here. I need to build a better one of those, by the way. So you guys can see here, you got a nice big wingspan on this guy. You do get the aesthetics of the missiles under the arms, just as you should. And of course, in flight mode, these two will look good together. Though, with the Planet X setup, what I've got, every one of these ends up looking like a kid, and a dad or something like that. Just the more badass dad who's like got to go to war. But these are pretty cool. Mind you, of course, Planet X aesthetic is definitely nowhere near G1, but this thing is great. Oh, speaking of that, let me just bring up, see if I can find a decent image of G1 Swoop to bring up right here. And you can see the comparisons. I think it's actually very, very close. And we'll do it again, of course, in robot mode. So now it's that time. Let's go ahead and get Lord Swoopington, as MGO would say, transformed up. Now, first and foremost, I think we want to go ahead and come up to the arms slash feet slash chest right here. Go ahead and just pull these up. It's on kind of a, it's got a hinge here that allows it to come out like so. We're going to go ahead and flop the dino feet away, and whoa! Where did those hands come from? Wow. Shocking. Alright, now the hardest part of this entire transformation is getting the legs unpegged from the back. Because the way they work, and by the way, here's that really bad dusting. You can totally see it here. Because the way they work is they're tabbed in here, and then these black plastic parts are tabbed in more or less behind the wings. But you have to pull it sideways, like so, to get it off that tab. And then the whole thing is going to accordion out off of the thigh, like so. I'm just very uncomfortable with the way that functions, like so. Now I want to show this off real quick before we get too much further. You can see that that's already been rubbed off a little bit, and if you look at the tabs, both tabs have red paint on them because it is very difficult to get those installed. With the way these hips work, you have to really kind of line everything up, collapse it all, because if you don't have this part here clearing the hips, then it really becomes an issue. Alright, so turn each of the legs around, flip the feet forward, go ahead and close up the quote-unquote back of the legs. Yeah, it is what it is. Now he's a zombie pterodactyl. Brains, we need brains. Okay. Now, this part, also slightly disconcerting. You have to take these whole sections here, one at a time, and flip them back, like so. And you will find that there's some resistance as you go. You just have to kind of push past it. And you can already see right here, if I can zoom in, maybe not, where the two parts of the chest have rubbed together. Clearance issues are definitely a problem with this. Bobby Skullface talks about it. I've talked about it on every one of these reviews. It's just a thing. Alright, so now you want to take the whole bird part and just slide everything straight back. And you can see the screw right there in the chest. That's the sliding part. Now come up to the head, flop it forward, pull this little tab up, like so. Flop down the bird face, push the clippy back, and then lower the arms and rotate the correct direction off of the elbows. Then fold the dino wings back, and there we have Master Swoop. All done and done. Now, Swoop in robot mode is definitely one of my favorites of this series. It is so good, guys. Just full of, like, just something very 80s about the way the sides of these legs are. The big red stripe going down to silver. It's also kind of a callback to Optimus Prime's trailer. You got the black paint right here on the front of the legs. This one's not great. It's actually chipped a little bit. It's also not lined up perfectly. You got some mild gold paint going right down the legs. I think that is supposed to imitate the bird feet, which are technically now part of the arms. So if you look at the actual image of the G1 version here, you can see that he's got his normal front bird legs, or pterodactyl legs, right here on the thighs. Usually in most aspects that's how it works. This one, they just made it work for the arms. It's okay. I do wish they had used silver plastic for the arms, or painted it silver, because they made it very bright silver right here at the bottom of the feet, but then didn't paint the arms. Like, just, you could have taken it up a notch there. And part of me wonders if they forgot to, because if you look at them compared to all the other ones, they all have painted arms. This is the only one without it. So, I don't know, maybe it was just a mistake. Not entirely certain. But as for articulation, his head does rotate on a ball joint. He can look up that far, down that far. A little bit of a quizzical look. You can see his yellow bird head reflecting in his face. So, hey, they remember silver paint there. Really gorgeous blue eyes. Good job on the paint on the head. You see the pins coming through. No big deal. The arms are on ball joints up here. Just got to watch the clearance. You can go all the way around if you move the wing out of the way. No articulation for bicep. Everything is here in the elbow. So obviously you have the ball joint there. Get the 90 degrees out of it, and you rotate it all the way around. Hands have no articulation whatsoever. Of course, the wings do just hinge back and forth. So you can have straight back for no apparent reason, or you can have them pretty much in the way they're supposed to be. And you get the big missile pods there. Now the hips do function, more or less, but here's the problem. You can't kick forward. Totally hits right here. And as far as I can tell, there ain't nothing you can do about it. You can go backwards, so he can kick back like he's supposed to for transformation, but he gets no forward kick whatsoever. And you can't rotate at the center of the body because that's all one piece. So that, that sucks. Almost all of the other ones, as far as I can tell, all have hip articulation for the most part. I think maybe Sludge is the only one who can't do it otherwise. But you do get almost 90 degrees at the legs, except because of these, you can't. Now the feet do have articulation, which is cool, so you can tilt forward and back, but then you also get the ankle rocker, so you can actually get a slightly spread out pose. You do also get thigh rotation, so he's not entirely unarticulate. And he does have a weapon. You do get his sword. I like that they gave it to you in like the toy form, where it's just one big solid piece of clear plastic. Because you could easily, and I might do it one day, come back and go ahead and paint the handles and everything. And for those wondering, yeah, you can totally take the missile guns, because what else are you going to call it? It's a missile gun. And you can totally hold one. That's pretty neat. Now, of course, we can go ahead and give him a little bit of comparison. First and foremost, our Wally. Wally, you finally have all 5 Dinobot buddies. Here, he's gonna point his gun at you, but that's a friendly maneuver in this case. There we go. Let me picture that. Yeah. Get Wally out of there, and we can bring in the Snarlmeister from last time. Of course, standing a little bit awkwardly. Come on, stand less awkwardly. There you go. That's less awkward. Then we have Slag, who still can't figure out what he wants to do with his feet. That's my biggest complaint about that particular figure. Well, one of the biggest complaints. Hold on, scooch this out. I'm already running out of room framing. So once again, the legs just don't know what they want to do. I need to take some pledge or something to the hips. And then we have Mr. Sludge back there. Let's stagger them a little bit. And then King Grimlock bringing up the back. That sounds weird. So there we have all 5 G1 style Dinobots finally in my collection. And guys, I do like these. It's just so friggin' cool. They look great together as a set. We should come up a little bit and... There we go. Look at that. Focus in on the Grimlock. There we go. So all 5 Dinobots together at last. And they're very, very good. Very, very good. And I really, really like Swoop. I really, truly do. Look at that. I gotta get a picture. Oh, yeah. Alright, so let's get these guys out of here right quick. And we'll do one last comparison. Everybody get out of the way. Everybody out of the way. We need more room for this big birdie. Probably one of my favorite iterations of Swoop, of course. The Planet X version, which just looks so good. Though part of me actually sort of wishes they had found a way to make the chest blue. That should be like a special edition. Planet X, they're doing all kinds of different special editions right now. Give us a Swoop with a red chest. I think that would be cool. Okay, that's it. Get out of here, other birdie. Alright guys, but that's gonna be it for this DX9 War In Pocket SKYER review. It's so hard to say SKYER. It's not a word that wants to come out of your mouth properly. That just sounded strange. Anyways, but I do love this guy. It's so good, and I do think this is one of the best ones. I love the color. I mean, the clearance issues to where you're rubbing paint, that does suck. The fact that it seems like the arms should be painted and they're not. Maybe I should email DX9 and ask about that. Just because it seems like all the others are finished to a better degree than Swoop. Like, they painted the bottom of the legs. Why aren't these parts of the legs silver? Why aren't these parts of the arms silver? Just something like that. But otherwise, it's a great set to have, guys. And at about $35 a piece, while slightly pricey, I think for the quality and the real G1-ness that you're actually getting, compared to even like the Power of the Primes version, I think this is probably superior. But I'll catch you guys on the next review. If you're new here, make sure you give a thumbs up. And also subscribe if you like this video. I know I said that backwards. And if you guys want to know about the Patreon, go see what you can do for me so that I can do more for you right here on the screen. Go check out the Patreon if you feel like donating to the channel. And remember, as always, guys, keep on nerding.